And we're so excited to be back with yet another episode of Jumpstart Monday. This is our first episode of 2022. And this episode is a special episode because today is a special day. Happy Valentine's to all. And since it's Valentine's, we're going to be talking today about how we show our customers that we truly care for them, or I dare say, how we show our customers that we truly love them. Happy Valentine's, Sophia, and welcome to the episode.
Happy Valentine's, everyone. And I'm very excited and very honored to be here once again. And I have to say, I was discussing this episode with my husband yesterday, Michael, and he told me, I don't understand why you're making an episode about loving your customers. In his opinion, when it comes to serving his customers, it's all about, creating the best product, creating the best service, and that's it. They are satisfied and they come back. And I told him, you know what, I disagree, because we live in a world that is very competitive and there are a lot of options out there. And for me personally, when it comes to selecting someone or buying something, I buy based on my emotions. So I buy from the person that I like and I trust. And I think if we show this little bit of extra, if we do this so-called emotional labor and we show to our customers that we love them, then they become more loyal to us and they are coming back, hopefully, each time they need us.
Very
so
true.
I think this is a great topic, and that's why we decided to do this today. And we have included in this episode 3 tips and 3 stories on how you can show to your customers that you love them. So let's start with the first one, if you allow me, Michael.
Of course, please be my guest.
The first one is showing up just before they need you. And I'm going to tell you a story of a young gardener who works in the area here, and who managed to get a lot of customers this year, even though he's not very experienced. So what happens here in this village we live, the people who have houses, they're usually older people, and they hire gardeners to help them in the spring, in the summer, in the autumn, with the heavy work in the gardens. So there are a few people who work as gardeners, and they work throughout the season, and then in the winter, they take their holidays, disappear. And this young person, he did something incredible. So a month ago, he showed up at my parents-in-law house, and he said, you know what, I checked the weather, and it's going to snow tomorrow. So I brought some salt to put on your parking lot, so you don't have any problems tomorrow. And this little action was very, very useful for my parents-in-law, because here every time it snows is a big trouble, to remove the snow from the parking, etc. This guy, he showed up one day and he gained business for years to come.
Amazing.
So just by doing your research, thinking, what do my customers need? You make them loyal, you make them think about you before about thinking about anyone else. So that's the first tip. I will pass it on to you, Michael, for the next tip.
Thank you, Sophia. Lovely tip. Let's go and look at the second tip on our screen now. The second tip is when they need you, go the extra mile. And since Sophia has shared a personal story, let me share a personal story of mine. It happened 2 years ago when I was doing a workshop for a very prominent shipping company. And during the evening, after we completed the workshop, we went for dinner, and I happened to be sitting next to the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer. So he turned at me and he said, Michael, you seem to be an avid reader, and I would like to improve going into the next year. So can you please suggest 5 books that I should be reading? And the easiest thing I could do is just ask him to switch on his mobile phone and just make a note, or go back to my office the next day and shoot him an email with the 5 books that I suggest. But I didn't do any of this. Instead of rushing to deliver an invoice to the CFO the next day, I left it to deliver it a week later. But the very next day after we completed our workshop, I rushed to their head offices here in Limassol, and I delivered on a letterhead of mine 5 suggested books. then there was a note written underneath. You only have to buy the 4 books, as I told the CFO, because one of the books, the number 1 listed above, I have already bought it for you, so it's included. I didn't need to do that, but I did it because going the extra mile is what differentiates ordinary from extraordinary. And going that extra mile is what will probably show the customer that I truly care about them, and also lead probably to loyalty. So Sophia, the second tip is going the extra mile. Let's go and look at the third tip. The third tip is see the world from your customer's eyes. And the best example I can give you here is an example that I recently mentioned in one of my speeches at Bush's, and it's about LinkedIn. The LinkedIn people have 10% Tuesdays. And on Tuesdays, they ask their technical team to log in and go into LinkedIn from a lower bandwidth or a very bad connection. And they're doing this because they want to experience how the millions of people around the globe are experiencing LinkedIn. So kudos to the senior management of LinkedIn and to their technical management for looking at the world from their customers' eyes. And if you look at the world from your customers' eyes, then you increase your chances of having a loyal customer going into the future. So in recapping, and Sophia, I might ask you to show each and every one of the tips again. Let's recap the 3 tips. Tip number 1, as you see now on your screen, is show up before they need you. A great example from the young gardener in Switzerland who showed up to sprinkle salt so the ice can melt faster. He didn't have to, he did so he has more chances of having loyal customers who will come back again and again. Tip number 2, Sophia, is when they need you, go the extra mile. As I said earlier, the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that little extra. By going the little extra as a professional, as a human being, it shows that you truly care. Where will it lead? Probably to your customers' loyalty, and probably you will be differentiated from your competitors. And tip number 3 is to look at the world from your customers' eyes. Walk in their shoes. Try to understand them, because if you do, then you increase your chances of having customer loyalty, and your customers will know that you truly care and that you, yes, I dare say, love them. So in closing, my dear friends, I would like to refer to a proverb that really resonates with me. It's a proverb about children, and it says that your children don't need your presence, but they need your presence. The exact same thing holds true for your spouse, for your customers, your prospects. They don't need your presence. It's not about sending a book. It's not about just delivering salt, but they need your presence when they truly need you to be there present. And if you do that, then you have already differentiated yourself. You showed that you care. And yes, it will lead to customer loyalty. So with this, I turn the microphone over to Sophia for some announcements.
Yeah, so we will come back to the chat after, but I wanted to tell you that there are many examples. We are sure there are many examples in the world on how you can treat your customers like they should be treated. So I want to urge you to write in the comments if you have any examples from your personal experience, either as a consumer, either as a service provider, either as a product provider. Write examples in the chat, and we will be reading them. Even if the episode is not live anymore, we will be reading them. And the other thing we wanted to encourage you is that we want you to come to the episode if you like, and share with us and share with the world any examples, any positive examples that brought either better customer experience, either better leadership, either results in business, and share it with the world and show to everybody else what we can do if we put that little bit of extra effort. And if you want to do that, you can contact us. I will put Michael's email here. contact us, send us your stories, and we will be happy to have you with us in these next episodes. We will be live every Monday at 10:25 Cyprus time, Eastern European time, and we would love to have you with us.
And Sophia, can you tell the people just before we close the topics that we are for the next few weeks? What are the things we're going to be talking about?
Yes, we will be focusing on soft skills, on building soft skills, building, for example, resilience, creativity, candor, building authenticity, skills that help us become better as persons, as professionals, and they are not so evident to build. So examples help us to understand and to learn and to improve.
Very good. Thank you very much, Sophia. Thank you for everyone who was listening in. We appreciate your loyalty and for caring, and talk to you next Monday. Take good care.